Welcome to your Daily Detroit, recorded on Thursday, March 19th, 2020. I'm Jer Stays. Today's show has two parts, with one that has gone to the birds. First, we'll have some quick updates on what's happening locally around the response to COVID-19, the top-line numbers, shutdown updates, and some interesting related news and people doing good things. Then, Linnea Rouse from the Michigan Audubon Society joins my friend Sven Gustafson to talk about one of the things you could do from your own yard, birding. Spring means we have some great birds coming into our area, and being at home, you have the opportunity to enjoy them. Then we'll talk about some of our favorite birds. So let's get started. Here are the top-line numbers for confirmed COVID-19 cases here in Michigan as of 3:30 p.m. Thursday. According to the state of Michigan's coronavirus response page, the number is now up to 336, along with at least 3 deaths. 105 of those cases are in Oakland County. The city of Detroit has 75, and Macomb has 55. Private and clinical labs have joined the effort, including LabCorp, Quest Diagnostics, Beaumont, Sparrow Hospital, and Henry Ford Health. It's important to note that most experts agree the numbers in the United States are far behind the number of actual cases out there. We're going to see these numbers go up as testing catches up. We have more details on that U.S.-Canada border closing we mentioned yesterday, and that will impact both the tunnel and the Ambassador Bridge locally. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau told reporters this morning that he expects the border to close to non-essential traffic sometime overnight Friday or very early Saturday. The timeline is a little bit fuzzy as there are details to be worked out between the U.S. and Canadian governments. More malls are closing as well. Both 12 Oaks in Novi and Great Lakes Crossing in Auburn Hills are shutting their doors for at least 10 days, following the news of Somerset Mall yesterday. The Smart Bus System, or the Suburban Bus System, will be reducing their service starting Monday, March 23rd. There isn't an end date for this reduction yet. The plan is to turn down their fixed route service 30%, and this is in response to a 60% drop in ridership. The plan is to reduce the frequency of the runs as opposed to reducing the routes. Smart has updates for those changes on their website, smartbus.org. Broadway in Detroit, a company that produces theater shows, has canceled their season through April for shows at the Detroit Opera House and the Music Hall. Additionally, the Detroit Symphony Orchestra has canceled or rescheduled all performances through May 10th. This is important to note as this is an extension of a former date, April 5th. As these all continue to roll forward, we'll keep you updated, but this is clearly not just going to be a 2-week shutdown for events and large gatherings. All right, now for a couple of interesting things to think about. In the auto industry, you're starting to see incentives that feel similar to the crash of 2008 start to roll out. Ford announced today a new Built-to-Lend-a-Hand program. For new customers, Ford's going to make the car payments for the first 3 months, and then customers can defer for another 3 months after that on select vehicles when they're using Ford financing. The aim would be to keep products somewhat moving as the economy grinds to a, well, hopefully temporary halt. Also, those looking for a job might want to take a look at the medical manufacturing field. We have word that J&B Medical in Wixom is hiring full-time customer service representatives and warehouse associates. The company sells products like test strips, catheters, breast pumps, airway tubes, and gloves. You can check them out at jnbmedical.com and send your resume to resumes@jnbmedical.com. We're going to be keeping an eye out for other places hiring as the economy shifts. And look, I already know there's a number of you out there who have lost your jobs or are feeling really sketchy right now. So we're going to keep an eye for that. If you're somebody who does have a job available, go ahead and email me at dailydetroit@gmail.com. And then finally, if you need to stress eat or you just love Polish food like I do, pierogi is a great choice. If you want to give the gift of pierogi, Petrzyk Pierogi that recently opened up in Eastern Market is offering a pay-it-forward pierogi program where you can buy a dozen pierogi for someone else, and they'll have a system where if people need it, they can use it. They're also offering 20% off for service industry workers. I will put a link to that in the show notes. Friends, share the pierogi. All right, I'm going to turn the microphone over to my colleague, Sven Gustafson.
There's plenty of worrying and depressing news about the coronavirus, so we want to highlight some lighter fare and some opportunities it affords us with all of this extra time we didn't anticipate having. It's also generally considered safe to continue to do things out of doors since coronavirus is not an airborne pathogen. Plus, it's springtime, and we here at Daily Detroit, we like birds. So joining us on the line is Linnea Rouse. She's the Conservation Program Coordinator for the Michigan Audubon Society. Linnea, welcome to Daily Detroit.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. All right. So it is mid-March, and at least down here in Detroit, the sun is shining right now, at least. Could change anytime. But what's happening in the bird kingdom nowadays? Is the spring migration underway at all?
Yeah, so many songbirds do migrate seasonally, and this time of year, many of them are returning north to their summer breeding grounds. So birds that you might start seeing more frequently around right now are some of the early migrants, like American robins. You might see flocks of robins out there where over the winter you might have seen just one or two. Pretty soon, in April and May, we'll get a flood of songbirds coming back. Some of my favorites are warblers. They're very small, bright, and colorful, and they have lovely songs. Mm-hmm. Other birds like tanagers and vireos and all sorts of different songsters are coming back in the next month or two.
So are you getting a lot at the Michigan Audubon Society? Are you sensing that people are maybe taking more active role in paying attention to birds and more active interest in birding now that the coronavirus is sort of locking everybody down in place?
Yeah, I've seen some silly memes online, and in all seriousness, the coronavirus is a big issue, and we should all do our part in proper ways to prevent the spread of the virus further, including social distancing, not gathering in large groups. But there are a lot of people who are taking advantage of this time period to go out birding, and Michigan Audubon really encourages people to get out on their own, visit Michigan Audubon bird sanctuaries. We have a set of different properties throughout the state that are publicly accessible, with information on our website about those, where to find them, where to go. And we really encourage people to find solace in nature in this difficult time and to enjoy spring migration. Getting outdoors is shown to be a really healthy practice to do, if not for just the fresh air, but also for mindfulness and getting out there and enjoying what we can see and hear and feeling the sun, that sort of thing.
Yeah. The Audubon Society offers, regular outdoor birding events. I know you have canceled like some of the big ones, but generally you're still holding these events so long as, but just kind of capping participation. Is that right?
Yeah. So we have canceled our major events for the spring at least through May 6th, and we will continue to evaluate that for our later spring events. But for our smaller events, some of our bird walks and sanctuary volunteer work days, we are capping those at 10 people. So we do ask for RSVP if people would like to join those. But it's a good way to get involved, to still help the birds or observe the birds without having too much social contact. We'll be outdoors practicing maintaining social distancing, working 6 feet from your fellow birders or watching birds a little bit farther spaced apart than we perhaps normally would. And of course, we appreciate people following the general wellness guidelines. First and foremost, please stay home if you're not feeling well, and following all the CDC recommendations. If we do have additional changes to our programs, even if it's a bird walk with this limited number of people, as we continue to follow and adhere to those recommendations, we will post updates on our social media and on our website.
Yeah. For our listeners here in the Detroit area, I know you're up in Lansing, but here in the Detroit area, where are some good places to go look for migrating birds, like as you mentioned, that starting next month in May?
Some of the locations around Lake St. Clair are great if you have the opportunity to get out of the city a little bit. There may be city parks that are good for birding. And during spring migration, a lot of birds do pass right through our urban areas. They're not just going to these natural preserved areas. They're using the habitat right in our backyard. So people can watch birds right from their windows even. Yeah.
So like what can people do who are, people are spending a lot of time at home now as, result of this virus. So what are some ways they can encourage more birds to visit their backyards?
Yeah, so there's a few things people can do to encourage people or encourage birds to come visit them. One being sort of the basic bird feeding. Lots of people have bird feeders out, and something that folks can do, and this is really relevant actually to the spread of the virus, is that it's important to remember to keep your bird feeders clean. When bird seed gets wet, it can grow mold, which isn't healthy for the birds. It's a great recommendation to clean bird feeders regularly using a diluted bleach and water solution to rinse them and remove all the old debris and dry them. And that helps prevent disease spread. Birds can get disease from visiting bird feeders, so it's good for us to help keep those clean so we don't spread avian pox or salmonella, other things that can be present on bird feeders.
Mm-hmm. For people who want to go out and actually try birding, but maybe don't know what all is involved, I mean, what do you need to go birding? I mean, it's not like a super equipment intensive pursuit, right?
Oh, not at all. Yeah, so all you really need to go birding is either access to a window or access to the outdoors. You can walk down your block, your street. You can listen and you can look, and you don't actually need any equipment. Now, if you do have binoculars, that'll allow you to better see details, maybe to get a good look at a bird that's a little bit farther away or hidden in leaves, and that can help you to identify it if that's something you're interested in learning how to do. There's a lot of great resources on the web, too. If you don't have a bird identification guidebook, I really like to recommend allaboutbirds.org, which is a great place to learn about birds, to learn about how to identify them, learn about their migration when they might be coming back this spring, as well as learning about tips, like I mentioned with the bird feeder cleaning, also tips about where to locate the bird feeders and different things to help keep birds safe and healthy too.
I'm old enough that I remember, back when I used to do birding a little bit more than I do now, but I used an actual print guidebook. I didn't even think about the fact that a lot of that stuff has probably moved onto our phones nowadays. But are there still good guidebooks people pick up and use quite regularly?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, there's some great guidebooks out there. I personally like the Sibley Guide to Birds. There's Peterson Guide, Kaufman. There's National Geographic, all sorts of different guidebooks. And there's even one that's specific to Michigan. I don't recall the exact title, but it's something like Michigan Birds, and that's really useful to have on hand. The other thing people can do too is download a birding app on their smartphone if they have the ability to do so. And a great free app is Merlin Bird ID. So MERLIN Bird ID. And the app helps you select potential list of birds that you might be seeing based on their color, their shape, their size, where you're seeing it, and that sort of thing.
All right, very good. Linnea Rouse is Conservation Program Coordinator for the Michigan Audubon Society. Linnea, thanks so much for your time today.
Sure, no problem.
So Sven, great talk. I'm glad that we had her on.
Tweet, tweet.
Right? I'm excited about this. But she mentioned that Merlin app.
Yeah.
I have said app. I use said app on like a multiple times a week basis.
I swear to God. So I used to be a really much more avid birder than I am now. I still love birds. I just used to do it a lot more often. And I always used the Peterson Guide, Birds of the Eastern Birds, or whatever the book is called. I still have it. It's great. Dog-eared copy.
Well, and one of the great things about this app, though, is it tells you what birds you could have today. And like some of these I have actually seen, and some of them are, they're pretty common because you can actually put in like the bird tendencies or the bird size, the colors, and they'll start to like nail down which bird it is. And by using your location, it will actually like narrow it down to which birds it could actually be. So, you've got your basic ones, we're going to see more robins and things like that.
Definitely seen some robins already in my yard. Yep.
Yeah. But there's some cool ones that I really enjoy. Like the red-winged blackbird is something around here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You got downy woodpeckers all the time. And especially here in this neighborhood, there's all kinds of trees.
Big old trees.
Yeah. So you get woodpeckers. We also tend to get some interesting ones. This is big woodpecker season. So, the red-bellied, I've seen them around here.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I really enjoy is some of the hawks too.
Oh,
like the Cooper's hawk, the red-tailed hawk. Red-tail's definitely a little bit more, if there's more open areas, like if I'm walking the dog and there's there are less houses around, I'm more likely to see them.
And they stay around all winter generally too. So
yeah, they do. And then you got the killdeers coming, the killdeers.
Yep.
And so there's just so many great birds. One of my favorites that's around quite a bit would be the tufted titmouse. I'm a big fan of because those little birds, I love them with the little beaks. I saw one the other, I was so happy.
I've seen a couple of those outside my windows. I also saw some cardinals the other day in my backyard, and it was really beautiful. One of them was in kind of the interior boughs of a hemlock tree, which is an evergreen, beautiful evergreen tree that I have in my backyard, and set against that kind of dark green color, the red of the cardinal was really striking. It was very beautiful.
One bird that's kind of sometimes rarer to see and rare on the list, but I've seen them not only in downtown Detroit, but also up here a little bit north, is the woodcock. They're such the weirdest little birds with like the long bill and they're like kind of crazy look. Like, here's the picture. I mean, I'll share a picture on Daily Detroit, but it's just such an awkward looking bird.
Yeah, wow.
Like, when I first saw him, I was like, are you broken? Like, are you a full bird? Because his stubby little tail and his bill is like longer than his body. But like, I loved him because he was so weird.
Yeah, so cool.
And we're done for today. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for being with us in these trying times. A reminder that Daily Detroit is people-powered, and you can join those people at patreon.com/Daily Detroit. Some great updates. We actually got the proof of our new stickers. We posted them up on Instagram. They look really great. We're getting all of that in to send those out as rewards. Also, members who join now are going to go ahead and get a new benefit before anyone else. That's right. We have ordered the Rocks glasses with the Daily Detroit shield and our name on them. And they're just for you. And they're going to be sent to all of our current members before we open up a special Rocks glass tier for supporters. So join us, patreon.com/Daily Detroit. And thank you very much. For Sven, Cheyenne, Randy, Devin, Fletch, everyone who makes contributions to this show, big and small, I'm Jer Stays. Take care of each other, and let's get through this together.